Hello, welcome back to See What Sticks, a podcast about everything and nothing. I'm Russell, and this week I'm your only host because Emma couldn't make it, and the substitute for Emma, my buddy Sean, who's going to talk about his trip to Taiwan, also couldn't make it. So we have just me, and get ready, buckle your seatbelts, guys, because it's going to be one crazy ride. But before we get into our main topic for today, which is me answering dumb questions on the internet, which I find painfully stupid but really funny, and a few of them I've asked myself but never have dared to put online. We're going to talk about Tide Pods and how really smart it is to start eating Tide Pods. I'm being sarcastic. So if you guys don't know, people recently have been eating Tide Pods because of some sort of dumb internet something. It was like a Tide Pod challenge. And it got out of hand. Apparently when you eat a Tide Pod, because it's really concentrated soap, it gives you third-degree burns on the inside of your mouth. For those of you who don't know what Tide Pod is, it's like detergent for laundry, but it's very concentrated, and apparently it kind of looks like candy. I don't think it looks like candy, but you know what? To each their own. Excuse me. But kids have been eating them, and now Tide may be removing them from their product list because apparently in 2018 we have to tell people not to eat soap. So going off on Tide Pods and how dumb it is to eat soap and to repeat people eating soap and to think it's a good idea and do it yourself, I posted on my Snapchat some snaps of me saying I'm making dinner, but it's a bowl full of Tide Pods, or tasty snack, and it's me with a Tide Pod. This was meant to be funny. Apparently, not everyone thought that, and I got some angry Snapchats back saying that that was being offensive or something. And I'm sorry, but if you don't understand that's a joke, I'm really sorry. I thought it was pretty funny, and I still think it's pretty funny. So that's my thing on Tide Pods, and for all of you who didn't know that people are eating them. And I saw a pretty funny picture today that says, I don't know why people are eating Tide Pods. If you didn't realize, your walls are full of cotton candy, and it's a picture of wall lining that's fiberglass. It looks like cotton candy. So everyone, you should go out and try that next, and maybe it'll help you wash down your Tide Pod. So I thought it'd be a good idea, since I'm by myself, to read dumb questions off the internet and answer them as honestly as I can, because, like they say, there are no dumb questions. So the first one, all of these have incredibly good grammar, and I'm doing these from two different websites. One's like a BuzzFeed website, and the other is just a compilation site of dumb questions. All of these are put on Yahoo Answers or just put into forums. So some of these actually have responses, but I'm going to respond to them myself because I feel like it'll give it the good old Russell See What Sticks flair. Okay, the first question. We're going to open on a banger, guys. And the grammar, as I am reading it, is actually how it is written. When I drink alcohol, why I always feel sad? You know what? That's an accurate question. I don't have an answer for that. You have to look inside yourself. This next one, I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but I am reading this off the internet. Do midgets have night vision? The answer to that is definitely no. But the best answer, chosen by Asker, says, yeah, they actually do, period. It's a genetic advantage to make up for their lack of height when hunting in open field. It's lethal. Source, Lord of the Rings. There's 134 people that upvoted this, and it has a 5-star review. I don't know what to think of that. There's a lot of thoughts I have on that. The next one, how turn computer monitor into mirror? Okay. So I think they're trying to turn their computer, the background, into a mirror. If you have a laptop, just turn your screen off. It's a little reflective. Then you can look at yourself. But this person wants their computer screen to be a mirror. And the answer is, you know what? Just take a mirror and put it right over your computer screen. It'll do wonders for you. This next one is credit card and computer ? And the explanation is this person wanted their computer to read their credit card more quickly, so they inserted it into the CD-ROM drive, and it got stuck, and they don't know how to get it out. They tried toothpicks, but lost most of them in the process. Also, the drive is making weird noises. The best answer for this is, you know what, you should fish it out with another credit card, or maybe 2 credit cards. It's kind of like, if like a cat is stuck in your wall, you put another cat in, they become friends and codependent, and you pull one cat out, and the other one will come with it. Same with credit cards. Most people don't know that. They become codependent. So you fish another credit card in there with a little hook, maybe a string, and then give it a day or two for them to become friends. And you pull one out, and the other credit card, in theory, should come out with it. So the next one, number 5 on this list, is there a pill that'll make me gay? The reason for this under the question, it says, I want to become gay. Is there medicine or something for it? The answer to this is no, and why are you asking? I want a new letter in the alphabet. Is it possible to make a new letter and put it in the alphabet? You know what? It's your world. Live it the way you want to. Make all the new letters you want, buddy. I'm not going to say everyone's going to agree with your new letters, but you can put them in there if you want. You can make 40 letters if you want. Is it legal to name your dog after a movie? Yes, but I don't know why you would name your dog Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. But this person wants to name his dog Bolt after the Disney movie Bolt, but isn't sure if it is stupid. You know what? If you think it's stupid, it might be stupid. Next. How do I ask a question on Yahoo Answers? You're doing it right now, buddy. You're living the dream. Okay, so the next one says, number 10 on the list, my bro has not gotten his first period yet. You know what? That's a big problem. I think maybe you should take your brother to the hospital and ask a doctor why he hasn't gotten his first period yet. I think that there might be a problem going on with your brother, and you should be worried. You should be extremely worried. Number 11, is there any possible way of making 2 plus 2 equal 5? You know what? You just typed it. Boom. It's your reality. Now it's 5. This is a common sense fail is what it says above this one. My girlfriend is pregnant and we didn't have sex. How could this happen? And the most popular answer given that has 35 upvotes is she cheating on you. I guess they answered that one for me. Or maybe not. I don't know. I'm not going to touch that one. Why doesn't the earth fall down? The best answer for this one, which has 15 upvotes and 5 stars, is because it can fly. You know what? I was going to say the same thing. It has nothing to do with the sun or outer space or physics. It's because it can fly. Let's see. Let's see. All of these other ones are really weird. So I'm going to go back, and there's another one. So this is the 30 dumbest questions of all time. The first one, should I tell my parents I'm adopted? Yes. If you know that you're adopted, you should 100% tell your parents, because that is important. Here we go. If I eat myself, will I get twice as big or disappear completely? So there's 2 schools of thought on this. If you eat yourself quick enough, you might disappear completely. That is the key to invisibility, if you guys didn't know. But I personally think you will get twice as big. You'll have the power of yourself twice. Does it take 18 months for twins to be born, or 9? I'm going to say 18. It takes 18 months. That's definitely the right answer to that. Do you think NASA invented thunderstorms to cover up the sounds of space battles? 100%. That is definitely what all the money is going to, is covering up all the space battles that the government and NASA don't want us to know about. I swallowed an ice cube whole, and I still haven't pooped it out. You know what? You should be really concerned. It might be stuck somewhere in your body. You should go to a doctor. How big is the Pacific Ocean? Specifically, it's huge. How am I sure I'm the real mom of my kid? Ooh, this is a big one. You probably should go to like Maury it's Maury, and get that DNA tested out. That's a big one. You shouldn't be living with that question. Okay, we have that same "is there a pill that'll make me gay" question. It's showing up on 2 sites. Apparently a lot of people are asking that. Okay, here's a especially dumb one. Why are the holes in cats' fur always in the right places for their eyes? What? I don't know how to answer this. Because yeah, that's the answer. This next one, WTF is Obama's last name. Does anyone know? It is. It's Obama. That is his actual name. How far is the drive from Miami to Florida? It is exceptionally far. The drive from Miami to Florida is so far that you probably should pack stuff overnight. Okay, this is a long question. What does 1/4 till 4 mean? Like, why is it called that? 'Cause 1/4 is worth 25 cents. So why is it 15 minutes? Oh boy. You know what? That's an accurate question. You should figure that one out. I'm so lost. Isn't the NFL just for the U.S.? How does New England have a team? You know what? That's an accurate question. I don't know how New England has a team. It's not like they play out of Boston. Is African a religion? No. Are chickens considered animals or birds? I'm going to say neither. They are vegetables. Is it possible for tattoos to get passed on genetically from a parent to a child? I'm actually not making these up. These are real things I'm reading. And yeah, it is possible for a tattoo to get passed on. So if you are wondering why your arm has this weird sleeve sort of blotchy thing when you were born, like all the way down, there's pictures like of a unicorn on your forearm, and there's a weird sailor on the other side of your arm. It's because one of your parents had that, or you got it combined a little bit from one side and the other. You just got a free tattoo. You're in luck. If I shave a golden retriever like a lion, will the other dogs respect him? Yes, but other people will think you're an idiot. Can your baby get pregnant if you have sex while pregnant? What? Can your baby get pregnant if you have sex while pregnant? Okay. I see what they're saying. No. That's who's the target audience for some of these questions? Are these just going out to the internet or Reddit? Because I would love to know some of the answers to these. Where do socks go when they go missing? You know what? This is a real question I've asked myself many times, because I'll buy socks, or I'll get socks and they're like, there's 6 of them or 8 of them, right? There's pairs. And then I wear them, then I put them in the hamper, and when I get the hamper back from the laundry, when I'm done doing everything, there's no socks left. I'm fairly certain the socks are teaming together, inside of my washing machine, and one day will revolt and kill me. That's a real fear I have. What happens to people who are born on February 29th? Do they stay 1 until 4 years have passed? Yeah, they do. So it's a real problem. It's a real bummer if you're born on February 29th. Does looking at a picture of the sun hurt your eyes? Yes, you should never ever look at a picture of the sun. It's really bad for your eyes. You should probably get those glasses that they're selling for the eclipse if you ever want to look at a picture of the sun. What age does a boy start his period? You know what? I don't know. This was probably asked by the same guy who asked about his brother's period. And you should go ask your doctor. The same one about the earth falling down. And we already answered it. It's because it can fly. If Batman's parents died, how was he born? Because it's a comic book. And I think what he means is he thought Batman's parents died before Batman was born. Which is, I guess, an accurate question. Is an egg a fruit or a vegetable? It's neither. It's both. Is whale sperm the reason why the ocean is so salty? Completely. That is 100% the reason. Do babies poop in the womb? I actually don't know the answer to that. I probably should. The last one on this one. What would happen if I hired 2 private investigators to follow each other? You would have the plot for the world's best sitcom. It'd be like 24, but a comedy, and it would be incredible, and we'd all want to see it. Here's another one. How do I get my bobs bigger? BOBS. If you want your bobs to get bigger, you have to feed and water them. Take them for long walks, and your bobs will get bigger, and they will evolve into Roberts. That is how you get your bobs bigger. So, that is enough dumb questions. I was going to do another quiz episode because I found some really, really good ones this week. Unfortunately, Emma is ditching me, probably to go have fun with her friends and leave me to do the podcast. Yeah, some of these people, while looking at these questions, I think are taking them seriously. While I think most of these are jokes and are definitely meant to be funny, unless real people are asking them, and then I'm legitimately worried about just the average person. So going off on that, lately I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos about people essentially just hurting themselves. So I got on this whole kick where I got to smell pepper spray for the first time. And I am dumb, and I thought pepper spray would smell like peppers. It doesn't. I did not spray myself, for the record. I sprayed it in like a sink, and then I smelled it, and it made me cough. So now I understand. But because of that, I was like, I'm going to watch videos of people pepper spraying each other. And I don't know, maybe it's supposed to deter people, but I was like, that doesn't look that bad. I could try that. Yeah, I could definitely try that. But you know what? I can't. It's one of those things where you watch it on the internet, you're like, oh yeah, I could totally do that. I think that's the whole jackass syndrome. It's like, oh yeah, dude, I can drive a shopping cart into a moving car off a cliff. But yeah, lately I've wanted to do those things. Like, I've wanted to just take a pellet gun and be like, yeah, I can shoot myself 10 times with it, which is probably the dumbest thing I could think. But now I'm addicted to those videos of watching people. There's this one guy, I don't know his name because I don't do research for this show, but it's this really jacked guy, and he and his friends essentially just torture him, and they throw like pellets at him, hit him 100 times in the leg. If you guys know who I'm talking about, it's pretty funny. I guess in my weird way, it's funny to watch dumb people hurt themselves on the internet for my amusement. But on that, I found a video that I made Emma watch, and it's these guys from Australia, and they first do the cactus hand grab, which makes me chill to the bone, where it's just 2 guys sitting across from each other at a table, and they grab a cactus, just straight up cactus, just grab it full on, and the guys scream maybe the funniest thing I've ever heard. And he rips it in half, and then you just see his hand, and it's just covered in needles. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that. And then when you watch the aftermath, I'm like, no, I can't do that, because I cry when I stub my toe or anything like that. It legitimately ruins my day. So the thought of stepping on a cactus or grabbing one is probably my worst nightmare. Besides home invasion, that's probably my worst nightmare. But then after that, they decided to one-up it by taking it from the cactus hand grab to the cactus body slam, which, in my opinion, is only the logical place to take it. Because you know what's more fun than grabbing a cactus? Falling into one. So the same kid who grabbed the cactus is sitting on the hood of a car, stands up, and jumps straight into a cactus. It's not like one of the cartoon cactuses, the really tall ones. It's like a bush that's a cactus, so it's really spread out. And he jumps straight into it. And again, it makes me laugh. But then I'm like, oh yeah, that looks fun, until you see him pulling the needles out, and you're like, oh Jesus, nope, not for me. And the last one, to top off their cactus experiment trifecta, is a video of them doing cactus dodgeball. And you already know where that goes. It's just throwing pieces of cactus at each other and seeing if it sticks. pun intended. Yeah, so that's the thing that I've been doing lately and thinking, you know what, that's a good idea. And talking on this podcast and hearing myself say that out loud sounds real dumb. And I understand that. So this week, I also thought I would tell you guys two stories. One that, actually they were both kind of botched situations. So the first one, they happened within about 2 weeks of each other. So the first one is, I guess, a piece of advice. So when I was in Los Angeles this summer, my roommates and I thought it'd be cool to just go scope out what Hollywood was like at night. And we did this by, one of my roommates and I wore jeans and like shirts out just because we were going to go see what restaurants were like around and see if there's any like cool like clubs or bars that were around. And then one of my other roommates decided to wear shorts and a t-shirt, and we told him, we'll give these people fake names. So I'm Russell. My one roommate who wore a reasonable thing out, we'll call him Chad. And then the person who wore the t-shirt and shorts, we'll call him Brian. So Chad and I were thinking to each other, this is going to end horribly, and we're going to be walking around Hollywood at night and have to walk all the way back because Brian will have just cargo shorts and a t-shirt on. So we leave, and we're just like walking around. I think it's probably like a Thursday or maybe Wednesday night. So we start walking around, and we see this really cool place called Mama's. And we walk in, pretty cool place. They have a upstairs kind of swanky kind of spot that overlooks part of Hollywood. We couldn't get in because Brian was wearing shorts and a t-shirt. So that ruined that experience. And we were going to go up there to see what it was like. There's like a restaurant up there, and I think like a bar and stuff. So after that, we walked down some sketchier parts in Hollywood. And if you guys don't know, I didn't realize this. I thought Hollywood was like what Beverly Hills is. Apparently it's not. Hollywood isn't as amazing as I thought it would be in my mind. So we were walking around at night, and I never felt like endangered, but I was like, wow, this is a little more sketch than I thought it would be. Sorry if you hear that creaking. It's the chair. So then we went to another place, and we were in line just waiting to get in. And apparently Danny McBride, the actor, was at this place that we were trying to get into. But because Brian was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, we couldn't get in. And so the most logical answer to that would be is Brian running all the way back to our apartment to change and come back. That probably took an hour. And then Chad, is that what I named him? Yeah. Chad and I were like, this is dumb. We have to work in the morning. And that was my first experience walking around in Hollywood. Actually, I lied. My first experience walking around Hollywood was trying to find pillows. Because when I moved out there, I forgot that bedding was a thing. And I'd ordered like sheets and bedspread and all that stuff. But pillows weren't on that agenda. So we had to walk through Hollywood all the way to like a Target. Actually, we went to a Ross. Is that a thing? Yeah, it was Ross. And we walked probably 2 miles there and 2 miles back, where we could have taken an Uber and carried pillows through Hollywood. It was real cool. And yeah, that was my first experience of that. And I just wanted to get that off my chest because I wanted to tell the story, and it's just never come out. And this week, it's kind of just a whatever episode. So that was the story. And then another one. So I'm kind of a movie guy. And I was at this place called Amoeba Records. And later that day, Edgar Wright, the director who's done Shaun of the Dead, Baby Driver, which I actually just watched, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim, World's End. He's done a lot of movies. And he was at Amoeba Records to do some kind of autograph signing and meet and greet later that day. And because the premiere of Baby Driver was, I think, that night later. So he's kind of in the area just doing the whole press thing. And I didn't really know that, but I saw there was like posters on the wall that Edgar Wright was going to be around. And I'm usually pretty bad about recognizing people who I guess are celebrities, but not super in the, like you wouldn't know him if you just saw him off the street. But if someone told you, oh, hey, that's Edgar Wright, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah. I guess I recognize him. So I was in Amoeba Records just like looking around because it's a huge record store. And I bumped into this British guy and I felt really bad and I was like, sorry. And there's this British guy with long hair. And later that day, I was like leaving and I saw on one of my buddies' Instagrams, he's like, oh my God, I met Edgar Wright at Amoeba. And it was this British guy with long hair who I bumped into and I felt really guilty about. And that was probably the closest I've ever been to a celebrity. And I stupidly bumped into him and didn't even realize. So those are my two. Keep your eyes peeled and don't wear shorts out to places, Brian. And yeah, those are two stories that I have that I kind of wanted to tell about that. Actually, I have another story. So when I was working this summer, the first day at work was pretty crazy. So I got to the place I was working, which in my mind looked a lot different, or on the picture on Google looked different than it is in reality, just like many things. So we went around to the back door, which we were like instructed to go to. We weren't given the combination to enter the back door because it was one of the it's kind of like entering in the phone. So you enter in the digits, the door unlocks, and you open it. So we weren't given that, and we were told to get there at around 10 a.m. And so we got there probably at 9:50. And we walk up to the front door, and there was people outside, and they thought we were also guests, but we're like, oh no, it's our first day here. And we just didn't know what was up because we were waiting for one of the people who works there. And it was just this craziness. And so we finally get in and sort of instantly expected to know where everything was. And I mean, we got it all figured out. And then probably 8 minutes into actually sitting down and setting up all the stuff, because it was like a studio, setting up all the things the first day and hectically trying to run around and make sure everyone was happy and doing what they needed to do with the rented space that they had. I met the world's most rude person. So we would like rent out rooms and space to people there, and this guy came in. And the system that we had there is kind of you make an appointment beforehand, then you come see us and we'll unlock the room and give you the tools you need to do like the film stuff you do in the rooms, because it was like a casting studio. So he comes in, and we've been working there for 10 minutes on our first day and kind of didn't know the ropes. But there were people who are like actually working there like for a long period of time, and they sort of knew what was up. So this guy comes and knocks on the office door, which apparently was not protocol. You kind of just like wait, and then knocking on the office door is a little, I guess, pushy. So he walks in, and he says that he's very proficient in time management, and he just needs a room for like 10 minutes to record his like audition. And he was like, well, I have $50 and blah, 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 blah. And that were like, well, that's not how this works. And then I was sitting there, and the other new people were kind of just sitting in this office. And we're like, we don't know what to do. Is this normal? And then he turns to us. He's like, well, why are you guys being so quiet? And I was like, oh my God, is this how this entire situation is going to be? Apparently it was not. It was actually very good, except this one crazy guy. So that happened, and we essentially had to shoo him off because he thought that he owned this facility. And I was like, oh my God, I've been here for 0 time, and I already had to put up with the like most aggressive guy. And then later, there's a guy, usually you pay like online for this stuff. There's a guy who came in and paid with singles. He paid $100 in singles. And I was like, this is the strangest thing that's ever happened, because I was working with him, and then afterwards he's like, oh, do I have to pay you guys? And this was way later in my time working there, and I kind of already knew what was up. And I'm like, oh, you were kind of supposed to pay ahead of time. And he's like, oh, sorry, I talked to whoever, and they said I could just pay now. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. We'll just go back to the office, and I'll have you give us your information and everything, and we'll figure out from there. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. And he hands me like an actual wad of singles with like a rubber band. I've never seen that before. Like in my entire life, I've never seen a wad of money like that. But it was singles, and it was really creepy. And that's another thing that I was like, oh, this is a real person who actually exists on our planet who just gave me this wad of kind of soggy singles. And I can only imagine where those singles were before they crossed paths with my life. And I think about that sometimes. And I've told the story to other people. And I think about it. And I'm like, where have those singles been? But yeah, also working there, I guess made it a habit to get ramen noodles. Not like top ramen, but like restaurant ramen. And I got ramen quite a bit. And I'm embarrassed to say that the delivery guy learned my name and my order by the end of my time there. And I wish I became friends with him on Facebook or Instagram, because I feel like after I stopped ordering, he's like, where's that guy? Where's Russell? And I miss him, and I hope he misses me as well, because we developed a bond. I learned his name. We actually talked about music one time, and it was really cool. And I feel just really strange, like leaving, and he's probably like waiting for my call, and he's like, oh no, he's gone. Actually, he probably doesn't think that. He probably talks to people all day, and he's like, oh, okay, that guy probably just like dropped off the face of the earth or ate himself and disappeared. Which is me trying to do a callback that I definitely nailed. So going off ramen, or taking a, what is it called? It's bad, it's midnight. Springboarding off of that and having a cool segue, that's the word I was looking for, into food. So I've been trying to diet lately because I'm going to Mexico in March, and it's January right now, and I've hurt my knee, so I can't really do cardio. So I've put myself on a no carbohydrates diet, and I've realized it's really hard, and life gets real sad if you can't have bread or rice or noodles. But working with that, during the magic of editing, there was a gap, and I ate food at 12:37 a.m., which I know is incredibly healthy for a diet, to eat really late at night before you go to sleep while you're working on a podcast. I know most health people definitely recommend that. But going off on the diet and everything else, my Starbucks addiction is still a real thing, but I've changed. I've gotten better. So I used to order pink drinks a lot and this Cool Lime Refresher thing all the time. But it occurred to me that those have a lot of sugar. And apparently sugar isn't really good for you, which I guess is news to me. So I decided to make a smart choice, which was not give up my addiction to Starbucks, but change my order to a sugar-free thing, so I can still get those sweet selfies with the Starbucks cup that I crave. But now I don't hate myself for drinking a sugary drink 9 times a day. I just get tea now, which is still really good. But just for all of you wondering if my Starbucks addiction was a real thing, it is. Also, the tea is like $2 instead of like $55 for the pink drink. So I guess it's better in 2 ways. It's helping my tummy and my wallet. But yeah, with food, it's so hard to do this diet because like usually I just eat like garbage and go to the gym every day and do cardio, and it's fine. But since I can't really use my legs right now with my injured knee, I can't do cardio. And then my body has told me, hey dude, you either have to stop eating the way you do or figure out how to burn calories again. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem. And then people in Mexico are not going to want me to take my shirt off ever. I'm going to be the kid in the pool with the t-shirt on, and I don't want to be that guy. It may turn out to be like that if I keep slipping on my diet, but no one wants that. You guys don't want that, and I don't want that. So I'm going to pray to the food gods and the diet gods to look kindly upon me and my half-assed attempt at this situation that I'm in. But yeah, so it's also the beginning of the year, and Oscar season is coming up, which I'm stoked about. But I have a feeling, or I have this thing that I've been feeling lately, that 2017 has had a lot of good movies, like fantastic movies, in my opinion. But the Oscar caliber movies, I know the Golden Globes just happened, and there's a few movies that I haven't seen that I'm sure are fantastic. But this year I was thinking about it. I'm like, what movies are going to be nominated for Academy Awards? I know not everyone listening is a huge movie fanatic or really big into keeping up with it, but just thinking about movies that usually get nominated for the Academy Award are like the really big set piece movies. So you can think of like Lord of the Rings or something like that, which is like a fantasy but big set piece, or even like Mad Max, which is a lot more recent, which is fantasy again, but big set piece. They build a lot of sets. It kind of pushes forward special effects in film, so that's a thing that gets nominated. And then there's also like your war movies, your movies that are dealing with really important topics in like culture or topics in history. But maybe I'm just blanking out, but there hasn't been a lot of those this year, so it's going to be interesting when those nominations come out, with who's being nominated for Best Picture and who's getting Best Director and everything else, because I don't know, I felt like it's a bit of a slow year for those. But this 2018, there's a few movies I know coming out that I think will change that. And there's a few movies that I've been really excited for 2018. I think a lot of people love Star Wars. I have my own opinion about it from the episode that we did a few weeks ago. But there's some films like Isle of Dogs, which is a Wes Anderson film coming out. It's a stop motion-esque, not animated, but it's like claymation sort of movie. But not, it's like puppets, and that's coming out. I've been super hyped about that lately. I've been going pretty hype beast about Isle of Dogs. Excuse me. And there's a few other movies I know coming out that I think will be real emotional pulls and things that people watch for a long time to come. But this year, I can only think of a few, and The Shape of Water is one of them that I'm thinking. And I actually just watched Baby Driver, and I could see maybe that doing something, but it doesn't. Maybe for like camera effects and camera work, because some of the driving is pretty cool, and some of the shots I really, really liked. But yeah, that and Blade Runner for camera work, because that movie was like really well shot. However, no one went to see it apparently, but it was really good. But yeah, that's just my thing on the Oscars this year. And I mean, if you disagree with me, I'm sorry. You can always email the show, or if you know me personally, just text me and disagree with me. That's fine. I love talking about movies. But yeah, that's kind of what I feel about that. And I mean, I guess music for the Grammys, which is next week, even though some of my favorite songs and artists and albums of the year are pretty underground, and the Grammys doesn't really usually recognize those kind of artists. Music has been different this year. I think there's been some amazing like albums. I know, just transitioning from movies to music, just staying in the media side of everything. There's like 2 albums that I could really see getting some attention just from stuff I listen to. I know there's Taylor Swift released an album that's probably going to get some sort of hype. I know Jay-Z released an album that's going to get some sort of hype. I actually haven't listened to Jay-Z's album, which I probably should listen to, but whatever. I think the 2 albums that are really going to get a lot of buzz that are this year are Logic's album, Everybody, or Everyone. Yeah, that album, and Kendrick Lamar's album, which is Damn. And those are both fantastic, and I really think those are going to sweep in their categories. But yeah, so those are just 2 albums. And there's an album that just came out by the group Brockhampton that was like super fantastic. But I think that came out in 2018 maybe, so I don't think that qualifies. I actually don't know how the Grammys work with what qualifies, what doesn't. But I've been on a kick with music recently, and I thought I would share with people who might be listening to new or looking for new music. I've been on this. There's a band I've liked for a long time called The Cat Empire. They're an Australian band, but a lot of their songs have Spanish in them, so they'll pepper it in. But they're kind of a jazz ska kind of band, but there's like mariachi kind of elements in there. They're fantastic, but I've been on that lately. And then this kind of synthetic chill hop is like the name of the genre, and it's just instrumental music, but it's really nice, kind of soothing beats to do like any kind of work to, editing the show to, or anything. And the artist I've really been on lately is called Jazz Enough, and he has a really cool song called Coffee and Cigarettes, which has a opening from the movie Pulp Fiction, and it's really, really good. But yeah, that's just my thing on music right now. But I'm blanking because it's actually 12:45 in the morning, and I keep pausing this to go eat and get water and everything else. So my brain is definitely not working, just because I've been super procrastinating on this episode, because I've been by myself. And usually I have Emma with me to kind of be like, yo, we have to get this done. However, I'm lazy and by myself, and I always stress myself out and do this at the last second, which, I mean, I could totally get this done like a week ahead of time, like I do with Emma, and not have to stress out and kind of just have it set up to release. But nope, when it's just me and I'm left to my own devices, I legitimately go down to the exact minute I need to release it, which is a super good work ethic that I've developed recently. I'm being sarcastic. It is really bad and it stresses me out, and I could totally alleviate it. But you know what? Whatever. If it works, it works. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the show this week. I know next week it will be back to normal with Emma and I, unless she decides that she's jumping ship and she's like, I don't want to be associated with this guy or this show anymore. But hopefully she's back, and hopefully soon we get my buddy Sean's opinion on the show, and because he has some really, really cool stories about his trip to Taiwan for a month that I really, really want to have on here. But also, I've been thinking about doing some other things with this show. I was thinking about doing some commentaries. So how I would do it is queuing it up with a movie. So let's say we're doing it for the original Star Wars, so A New Hope. And I would have like a setup for it, so kind of explaining the movie if you've never seen it, but I think pretty much everyone has seen A New Hope. But so like setting it up and then having a time code built in where it's like at 2 minutes or 4 minutes, it's like start the movie right now and have the opening crawl. And then if people want to, they can listen to my commentary with Emma while we're also kind of watching the movie in the background and just talking about it. And I know some people really like it. I personally like commentary tracks when I'm listening to something by myself. It kind of has this feel that you're having a conversation while watching a movie, if it's a movie that you really like or you want to have someone else's feedback on it. So I think we're going to do that and maybe do it with episodes of TV shows. And I was thinking potentially doing it with Game of Thrones and getting people caught up, because the next season of Game of Thrones, I think, is 2019. They're taking a year to do all the editing and CGI and everything. But I was thinking about either doing something like that or doing certain episodes of Game of Thrones. And if people like that, I think we'll just continue. But that's something I think we're going to do. And we may even do a video portion of this kind of podcast and channel and everything else, just to see what people like and see what sticks. But yeah, we've been kind of shopping around some ideas besides the podcast, even though we love doing this. But I think it'd be fun to stretch the creative wings to do something else and just keep this going, of course, and have this as like the main thing that we do every week and update people and kind of have this, because I think it's super fun and I love doing it. I know Emma likes doing it a lot as well. But if people want, we might do commentaries or something else, or I've even thought about doing like a live show, which would be kind of a fun, different thing to do. But yeah, so those are just things I've thought of that if people want, we'll definitely give a shot. I know we're going to do Star Wars or like a Game of Thrones episode or even a Black Mirror episode as kind of a testing the waters. And that's probably going to be in the next week or two. It'll be like a bonusy kind of episode. But yeah, that's kind of what's coming up in the future. And yeah, so I hope everyone has had a good week, and I hope you enjoyed this very impromptu episode of me just kind of talking and sort of filling a week in just when everyone else's schedule is kind of just up in the air and crazy, and just kind of keeping the show consistent. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully people like this episode of just me, and if people do, then I can continue to just do single episodes if no one else can make it, instead of having guests in and having that whole hectic thing. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope everyone has had a great week. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope to have you all back for next week for another normal episode. But thank you again. This has been See What Sticks, and is a podcast about everything and nothing. You can always feel free to contact the show at letusseewhatsticks@gmail.com, and have a great day. Adios.